It's your boy Ty back here with another video. And in this video today, guys, we're going to be going over and ranking our top 10 point guards right now as it stands in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Now, the point guard position is one that you guys need to understand as well as I do. It is all so much preference, guys. I mean, some guys that I might have at number 10, you guys might have in your top 5. And so that needs to be known in the back of your guys' minds as we're diving into this thing, because I don't want you guys getting mad at me because, you know, your fourth favorite point guard is number 10 on my list. So just keep that in the back of your minds. Be open-minded and listen to my explanations to why I don't love each and every one of these cards I'm going to talk about. Now, as we dive into it, guys, make sure you guys do smash that subscribe button. We are on the road towards 130,000 subscribers. At my number 10, and this is where what I'm telling you guys, Diamond LaMelo Ball. I know a lot of you guys are going to be mad that I got Diamond LaMelo Ball all the way down here at number 10, but I need you guys to hear me out. I just don't see what you guys see in LaMelo Ball. And it's not all bad. I mean, the card does some things for you, but I just don't see what everybody else sees. What I see in LaMelo Ball is a great defensive point guard that release-wise is not good. And in movement-wise, yes, D-Book is nice, but I just don't see a ton. And, like, even defensively, he's solid. He's just not great. I did my gameplay with LaMelo, and I just felt like his release wasn't great. And just from top to bottom, I just felt like there was more better cards in my team than LaMelo Ball. Now, especially at the point guard position, I want a guy that can either create or be a lock. I don't think LaMelo Ball can do either of those things. And when I talk about, you know, my number 2 on this list, you guys are going to be surprised, but I just think as far as a complete point guard, there are better point guards than LaMelo Ball. And at number 9, give me James Harden. Here's the deal, guys. I know you guys are like, what, Ty? James Harden doesn't play any defense. I'm going to say it like this. I get it. But James Harden offensively is so much better than LaMelo Ball. It's really hard to even have them even in the same kind of comparison. And I do, but I'm just saying it's hard to compare them because they're two completely different cards. Harden offensively is night and day, so much better than LaMelo Ball. But on the defensive side of the ball, LaMelo Ball obviously is way better. So I don't want to sit here and just gas it because it really is preference based. But when I'm looking at Harden, when I'm looking at LaMelo, I'm just thinking, man, it is all preference. And for me, right now, I do prefer James Harden. Still, in my opinion, a top 3 offensive player in the entire game, not just at that point guard position. At my number 8, a guy I think is super underrated is Diamond Jordan Poole. And when I say this, you guys are probably like, seriously, Jordan Poole? Nobody's really talking about him. I get it because, you know, we got a lot of good Evos and Jordan Poole's and Amethyst that you then have to go and get 15 steals with. Nobody really wants to do that. And I get it. I understand it. But when you look at Jordan Poole, here's what you're getting. 6'4", pretty good frame in the game. Hall of Fame challenger, interceptor, off-ball pest, pick dodger, workhorse, great defensive badges. Handles for days, hyperdrive, killer combos, blinders, deadeye, good release, decent fade, Dame dribble style. I think this card is so underrated. And that's just me. You guys might not necessarily agree with me. And guess what? That is all okay. But I'm telling you guys how it is. Jordan Poole is underrated in my team. And again, I feel like the sooner everybody understands that and gets that, the better off everybody is going to be. Because this card, especially, you know, his Evo is hard because he's got a 40 steal rating. But once he does get Evo, this card becomes really, really, really good in my team. At my number 7, Diamond Penny Hardaway. You could have this card in your top 3 and I would not argue against it because I think he could be that good in my team. I just think he could. 6'7", 6'10" wingspan, hotspots from everywhere above the break. Badge wise is fantastic. My whole thing with Penny is defensively he's solid, not great. Offensively solid, not great. He's just a solid point guard in my team. The one thing I like about Penny is you can't attack him defensively. Like, he can guard people at a pretty high level, especially with his frame. I still think when you talk about complete point guards, Penny is up there with the best of them. Now, am I taking Penny over some, you know, some of the other guys? Probably not. Like, there's a reason he's at number 7. But when he came out December 8th, 3 weeks later, the fact that he's still at number 7, I think is pretty impressive. I like his release. I don't mind his dribble style. Penny Hardaway maybe should even be higher on this list. At my number 6, Diamond D'Angelo Russell. Even if you compare D'Lo to Penny, I think it's tough because D'Lo does give you more Hall of Fame defensive badges, and offensively, I think he's better. The one thing Penny has is height on D'Lo, though, so again, I really do think it's preference-based. D'Lo did get hurt taking a charge last night. I hope he does recover because, I'll always have a special place in my heart for D'Angelo Russell. But here's the deal, guys. I like him as far as an offensive card. Defensively, I know he has a bunch of Hall of Famers. He's still not great. He is good, but not great. I think if you do get D'Lo, and you do end up getting those 15 steals, then you'll probably like the card. That's just kind of how I did it. I did the steals just kind of naturally as I went through things. Again, it did take, a decent amount of time to do the steals. But when I got him done, I used him, and I definitely did enjoy my time with D'Angelo Russell, and he is at my number 6. At my number 5, SJ, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I want to spend some time talking about Shai because he's an interesting card. His stats, his badges, probably suggest he should be in the 8 to 10 range. But what Shai has as far as a dribble style, as far as his release, you just can't make that up. I mean, his dribble style, MJ, obviously good, but his release, that's the best part about the card. It's fantastic. And even if you compare his release, let's say, to a LaMelo or a Jordan Poole, that's really where SJ has the advantage. Those other guys, yes, they're still going to be good. They're fine. But SJ, when you look at this list, has one of the best releases on it. The problem is, badge-wise, he's not great. One thing SJ gives you is you can give him every badge in the game. But even if you do, apply your 5 favorite badges, he still lacks badges. And you can't just overlook that, man. He lacks badges, and that is what prevents him, in my opinion, from being, top 3 on this list. Because I like SJ. I have SJ. I've used SJ. And offensively, he is so good. But if you're missing as many badges as he is, I just think it's tough for me to be any higher on SGA than where I'm at right now, which is number 5. I like SGA. Again, I've used this card more than probably the majority of you guys watching this video. But for me to put him any higher than I have him, I just don't think I can do. At my number 4, Diamond Devin Booker. Now this one's going to be a surprise to a lot of people because a lot of people right now have Devin Booker at maybe their number 1 point guard in the entire game. Offensively speaking, Devin Booker is your best point guard in the game. Offensively speaking, he is. And I don't even think it's close. I don't even really think it's debatable. When you look at it, Devin Booker offensively, 6'5", D-Book dribble style, D-Book based on quick, super smooth. D-Book leaner is so cheesy, has so many good shooting badges, playmaking badges. The problem I see with Devin Booker comes on the defensive end of the court. What am I talking about? No anchor, no fast feet, no glove, no interceptor, no post lockdown, no right stick ripper. It's not like he can even get you many steals. He's undersized. He gets put in a blender on the defensive end of the court, and that's really what hurts Devin Booker. A lot of my top 3, you're going to look at two-way guys, and I think that's really what prevents my Devin Booker from being a top 3 card. You could have him as your favorite point guard in the game, and guess what? I'm personally not going to argue against it because I see it, man. I see how you guys could be, you know what, Ty? I like Devin Booker as my favorite point guard in the game. I see it, and I'm not even going to disagree with it because you definitely could have that opinion. At my number 3, Amethyst Cade Cunningham. Yes, he was the deal of the day the other day, and the Detroit Pistons actually won a game. Cade is an interesting card because when you look at the card, you're like, 2 Hall of Famers, okay, like, it's Cade Cunningham. Last year, his release wasn't great either. Like, what is Cade really giving you guys? Like, a lot of you guys might have that thoughts. But he's 6'7" with a, big player model. That's really the first thing Cade gives you. Sure, his defensive badges aren't that great, but if you're 6'7", that can make up for a lot. Even his defensive stats, like a 78 interior, that's good enough if you're 6'7" to get you the occasional paint stop. I'm not going to say he's going to, guard AD. I'm not going to say he's going to guard Wemby at the highest level because he's probably going to get absolutely cooked. But he's 6'7", so at least he gives you the ability to switch screens. 91 3-ball with one of the smoothest releases in the game. Good dribble style, decent leaner. I mean, I feel like people don't give Cade enough respect for what the card truly does on the court for you, and it all starts and ends with his release. If Cade Cunningham didn't have the Cade Cunningham base, which is one of the, in my opinion, smoothest releases at the point guard position, nobody would be talking about him. But because his release is so good, people got to talk about Cade Cunningham. He is really solid in my team, and I just see nobody outside of Splash really hyping this card up, but he is absolutely elite. And as it stands right now, my 3rd best point guard in the entire game. Coming into my number 2, Diamond Drew Holiday. This one's going to stun a lot of people. I know, Jrue Holiday, not as hype as a guy like Devin Booker. I get it. Jrue Holiday, even compared to like let's just call it a spade, even compared to LaMelo Ball, the average person is going to think LaMelo Ball is better because Jrue is not really a hype piece. But what this card gives you is something defensively that no other card on this entire list gives you. None. 6'5", 6'7" wingspan. 6 of his 8 current gen Hall of Famers are defense. 8 out of his 10 on next gen are defense. And even shooting the ball, he's got a 93 ball. Now, I get it. His release is weird. I get it. But once you get past it, once you get used to the release, there's nothing Jrue Holiday cannot do on the court for you. Even the Jrue Holiday leaner is fine. If you look at his animations, guys, he's got the normal leaner, which is fine, especially on quick. Pro dribble style, sure. Offensively, I don't know if I'd want him as a primary ball handler. But the best part about Jrue is, if you come up against somebody running Devin Booker and Kobe, guess what? Jrue can guard either one of them. You're running Jrue and Kobe, and you want to give Kobe a break defensively. Guess what? You can stick Jrue on the opposing best player, whether that's Kobe, whether that's TyDeBo, whether that's anybody. Jrue can guard them. He changes the game in so many different ways, and until I see different, he is going to be my top 2 point guard because I prioritize defense in a massive way. At my number 1, we're plugging in Pink Diamond Luka Doncic. And this one's a tough one for me because I know Luka's release is horrible. I don't even think you can use this card as a primary ball handler. And that's crazy that we're talking about a Pink Diamond Luka that's not a primary ball handler. That's my number 1 shooting guard in the game. But hear me out. He's got 15 Hall of Fame badges. And what's the next closest on this list? 10, 11, maybe? He's got 15 Hall of Fame badges. That has to matter at least somewhat. I'm not saying it has to matter a ton, but badges have to matter. Meanwhile, he's got the rest on gold and bronze. He's got 70 base badges. Basically, every badge you could ask for in the entire game. Stat-wise, basically every stat's above an 80 as well, and he's 6'7". He can get you paint stops. He's going to knock down the occasional shot. I know it's baited, but he's still going to knock down that occasional shot. His leaner is actually... I don't know. It's weird, but you can green with it. I like Luka Doncic in my team. It's crazy to say. You can debate others as your top point guard in the game. But as it stands right now, I think mine is Luka Doncic. I still need to get used to him. I still need to get better with him. But I do think he is your most complete and best point guard in the game. You just can't use him like 2K22 Luka, 2K21 Luka, because his release still is not good. But they did something with Luka on the defensive end of the court that impressed me enough for him to be my best point guard in my team. That's going to wrap it up for our video today, guys. Let me know your thoughts on my top 10 down below in the comments. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys, and have a blessed day.